Hey, this is Jesús Luzardo, and welcome to the Phillies Show.
Ruben Amaro Jr., Jim Salisbury, Todd Zalecki. It's the Phillies Show. It is Friday, June 13th, 2025. Guys, you look well.
I'm well.
You are well, Jim?
Okay. Ruben and I are going to tee it up later on.
That's right. You guys are playing golf. We've got a very special show today. Very special show. Kind of reminds me of you guys ever watch like sitcoms in the 80s and early 90s? They would always have a very special elf. You know?
That guy was hilarious.
A very special elf. We have a very special show today. We've got Jesús Luzardo joining us later as an interview that we recorded about 10 days ago. And we decided to hold it because there were some issues. But
issues corrected.
Issues corrected. So let's talk about that. And well, first let's say this: the Phillies did not play on Thursday. They beat the Cubs on Wednesday, 7-2. They won the 3-game series against the Cubs. It's their first series victory since they took 2 or 3 from the Braves at the end of May. So they lost 3 straight series before they beat the Cubs. So pretty good bounce back for the Phillies. They desperately needed bounce back for the Phillies, I would say. Right, guys?
No doubt about it. I mean, for them to be able to, turn things on and to bounce back and win 2 out of 3 was really huge for them.
Yeah.
It was big, and the bats came alive for a change.
Yeah, it was nice. But we have Jesús Luzardo, as I mentioned, as a guest. And so let's start there. It's time for the first pitch. First pitch is powered by the betPARX Sportsbook and Casino app. Guys, Jesús Luzardo on Wednesday against the Cubs. 5 hits, 1 run, 10 strikeouts in 6 innings. His previous 2, not so good. He had allowed 20 runs in 5 2/3 innings. It was the first time in baseball history that my colleague Paul Cassell could find that a starter had allowed 20 or more runs in less than 6 innings in consecutive starts. And so he appeared to be back to form. Jim, you were there. You wrote something for allphly.com. What were you talked to Jesús?
It was very impressive. No walks.
10
punchies, as they like to say, as the kids say, the cool kids. His stuff was great, but his stuff was pretty good in the 2 games that he got knocked around on. Obviously, I thought the entire outing, obviously they needed to win. It gave him a series victory. It helped a really important pitcher get back on the right track. And I thought it was kind of a victory for Jesús Luzardo, for him, for his perseverance, for his character, for his toughness. I thought it was a victory for his catcher, his battery mate. Your catcher is your soulmate in the rotation. I thought it was a victory for the pitching coach and his staff. I thought it was a victory for the manager who supported this kid, the front office who acquired the kid. I thought it was a victory for their analytics folks, their biomechanics folks, their video folks, everybody who dove in and tried to figure out why this great season, 11 outstanding starts, why it fell off course. And obviously they figured out something. There was a little bit of tip and pitches going on. They addressed, how he held the ball in the set when there was a runner on second base, because guys were teeing off on him with a runner on second base, which would strongly suggest that there was some, he was giving away something, and the guy on second was tipping off his hitter. He ditched his sinker, threw predominantly 4-seamers, had a great changeup, but they fixed something, and he delivered. And after that game, he had his confidence back. I think he's a terrific young man. And the struggles he had weren't just a couple bad games. As you mentioned, they were historically bad. And that can really do a job on your psyche. But he got back on the track. He's a mature guy. He's a level-headed guy. He's extremely smart and well-spoken. You will see. I think he is mature beyond his 27 years. I think this would have, bruised a lot of 27-year-olds. But for him to come back so triumphantly, he was almost like a microcosm of the team. He was struggling. The team was struggling. And they both did something great on Wednesday. So hats off to a lot of people led by Jesús Luzardo.
Yeah, well said, Jim. And I will say this: the one thing that alarmed you as a evaluator of talent is when something is going so well and then something goes so badly, and there had to be something that had to change or something that was happening to make that change happen. So it was obvious for me that he was tipping pitches somehow, some way. There's a sophistication that's beyond belief these days on what video people can pick up, what they can see. It was clear that the two teams that beat him up knew something that was going on. If not every pitch, then at least most of the pitches, and they teed off on him. That was rectified. I saw very, very drastic in some of the film and some of the in some of the games, having watched it on TV. His change in his posture, the fact that he hit the ball a little bit better, he changed where his set point was, all those things. And that, as a hitter, I mean, when I played for the Cleveland Indians at the time in 1994-95, nobody was better at that at Albert Bell. It's one of the reasons why he was such a great hitter. He could pick things out better than anybody. He wouldn't tell anybody because he was afraid that somebody would tattletale once they got traded. So we used to get mad at him. But the reality of it is that there's ways to find those things out, and especially with sophistication in the video that exists in this day and age.
Okay, so I found some I grabbed some images from Wednesday's game, and I want to get your guys' opinion on this. So this is an image of Luzardo out of the stretch against the Brewers. And for those who are not watching us on YouTube, Luzardo is in the stretch. His hands are belt high. Is that fair to say?
Belt high, and probably he sets in belt high is after he makes his initial set point in the stretch.
Right. Okay. So
and on the left side of his hip.
On the left side of his hip. That's important. Okay. So here, this image is not quite as clear, but this is him out of the stretch on Wednesday against the Cubs. And where do you see his hands? They are just left, just below letter high. Would you say?
Yep.
Letter high.
Up and tighter to his body.
Left breast, just under his left breast, and tighter to his body. Yes.
There we go. So now this is Luzardo wind up against the Brewers. I don't know if I didn't see as much here, but you guys probably more talented at this than I. But this is him out of the wind up against the Brewers. Glove is out front there, like eye height, and then this is what it was Wednesday against the Cubs. It seems to be like a little bit closer to his face, a little bit
much closer to his face. There's more flexion in his left elbow. The glove is almost touching him. It's obvious that somebody was seeing his grips.
Okay,
whether it was a first base coach during the court, or the hitter could see something going on with his elbow as he moved.
Okay, and here's the best one, and this is from Pitching Ninja. If you guys are not on X, you're really missing out. This is a must follow if you're a baseball fan. This is Pitching Ninja, Rob Friedman, and he got this great side-by-side grab here.
Yep.
This is Luzardo. The image on the left is him throwing a changeup out of the stretch, obviously with a runner on second base, and you can very clearly see he is gripping a changeup. He has his changeup grip, and the image on the right is him throwing the same pitch Wednesday against the Cubs, and you can't see what pitch is coming out. Now, Ruben, Jim and I were talking about this beforehand. How much,
if you're the first, that's really, really late. They probably had it before that. I mean, that's a great shot, but I think that they probably already, either as he was going into his glove, they already had his grip because they could see it much better prior to his those two bad starts. they probably saw the grip early, and then they can tip them. And there's a way.
That's
to
a great.
That was a great shot as to how, that was fairly late, but it's hard for the base runner to let the hitter know that late because he's almost coming forward now with his arm. So they can, but I think they probably picked it up a little earlier. They probably saw the grip earlier in his glove. Sometimes I wish I had a glove. They probably just saw it, either him going in to grip it, or as he was gripping it, they probably had a really good look at it from second base.
It's tough to relay quick, but that pitching ninja shot was awesome. And you can see he's using a different glove. He had a smaller black glove when he was getting beat up and a larger tan colored glove in Wednesday's gem. I would call it a gem.
Yeah, bounce back gem. I mean, you're talking about pitching against one of the best offensive teams in the game, and he delivered.
Yeah, and so maybe rectifying how he was showing the ball, early, giving hitters less of an idea of what is coming. And he also, Jim, you mentioned in your story in just earlier that he totally dished a sinker on Wednesday, and for those people that don't know, he throws it about a little over 10% of the time this season. That's only like the 7th time in his career he's pitched in a game where he hasn't thrown at least one sinker. So, that was, he totally ditched it. And I'm not sure the reasoning behind that. If it was
I'm not sure also if he didn't throw a few, and StatCast sometimes misidentifies stuff because of the way, every ball moves a little differently, right? But he was asked about that, and he kind of had this knowing little grin, and he didn't want to really talk about it. So there was something he addressed. Yeah, he had definitely cut down on his usage consciously. He didn't want to give away too much, but they were teeing off on his sinker. He rode that four-seamer. It was up to 98. So he got 16 swing and misses against the Cubs on Wednesday in what I am calling his bounce-back gem. And he had only gotten a total of 9 swing and misses in his previous 2 outings. And I do love the swing and miss stat because I just think it shows you're doing your job. You're missing bats, right?
Your stuff's good.
Yeah, your stuff's good.
Yeah. No, it's a great effort by the kid, and a great job by everybody.
Absolutely.
Hey, that was First Pitch, powered by the betPARX Sportsbook and Casino app. You must be 21, and if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
So the Phillies play the Blue Jays this weekend at Citizens Bank Park. Friday, you have Kevin Gausman versus Ranger Suarez. Saturday, Bowden Francis versus Christopher Sanchez. And then Sunday's series finale is Jose Barrios versus Zach Wheeler. Now, before we get to Jesús Luzardo, I want to say if you can't get to the ballpark this weekend, you can stop by Delco, my neck of the woods. People say that Delco's a lot, and they're right. We've got a lot of everything: family fun, festivals, great restaurants and bars, gardens, history, trails, and outdoor activities. Take it from this Delco dad and check it out for yourself this weekend. Saturday, don't miss the race for the Watershed Duck Derby and 5K at the Newland Grist Mill in Glen Mills. 5K, rubber duck races, and a duck theme family fun festival, and it all helps support healthy waterways in the Delco community. And Sunday, Father's Day, it's the Father's Fishing Day at Linden Villa Orchards. Grab your kids and your rod and head out to the Orchard Lake. All dads fish for free. Find a full list of events at visitdelco.com. They say Delco's a lot, and they're right. And now, everybody, enjoy Jesús Luzardo. Jesus, thanks for joining the Philly show. Really appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. Want to ask you, as we get into June, have these first few months in Philly exceeded your expectations? What did you expect? What has surprised you about pitching in Philly these first couple months and your own performance?
Yeah. I think it definitely is a little surprising to me. I feel like every baseball player has it in them and has that confidence in themselves. But I think I've been pitching really well, thankfully, and also just like integrating into the team. I didn't know what to expect coming into a team with such high, expectations, but also A lot of superstars, a lot of talent, a lot of experience. And it's just blown me away how welcoming everyone is, how how the guys who are, quote unquote superstars are just really down to earth guys, one of the boys. And it's been awesome to be a part of it.
It does. Somebody asked me about you the other day. And I said, it just looks like he is loving life as a Philly. I mean, pitching in front of 43,000 people every time you take the mound at home. You got a great lineup behind you. Like you said, big expectations. I mean, I know Miami was kind of where you're from, but they're in a rebuild. A lot of nights the stadium is empty. Just how much has this done for your enthusiasm level, and just like I said, loving life as a Philly?
Yeah, loving life definitely is the right way to put it. Like you said, playing in Miami, it was home for me, so that was great. But at the same time, when you're not pitching in front of 40,000 like you are here every night, my last start at home against the Cardinals, I think it was raining, and we still had 42,000 like a Wednesday at 2 p.m. So that's something that you don't really see all the time, and it's some of the most fun I've had playing baseball since I was in high school. I said that during the Classic just because of the atmosphere during the Classic, which was awesome. And this kind of replicates it, day in and day out, especially when we have big games like we did yesterday, with the Braves. And the big series when these teams come in, and you really start to feel that home field advantage.
Jesus, I want to go back to your childhood a little bit. You were born in Peru, correct?
Correct.
And then your parents, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I talked to my brother Luis about this. Did they meet at a game in Maracaibo in Zulias? Because he told me that.
I don't think so.
Oh, no?
No, I don't think so.
That was the rumor out there that they met at a game that I played for the Águilas del Zulia. I know you were at least. I don't think you played for them, but I think that you were one of their properties or what have you.
Yeah.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No. For me, Águilas del Zulia is a big thing. My grandpa was, a diehard. When he lived there, he'd go to the games all the time. My parents both grew up going to the games separately. They are from Maracaibo, both of them. My whole family. I'm probably the only one within a long line of generations, cousins, uncles, aunts, everything that wasn't born in Venezuela. So I just happened to be born in Peru. But yeah, I do feel Venezuelan. Growing up with all the traditions and stuff.
So you're the only person in Major League history born in Peru. I believe that's still the case. And I know you moved from Peru to Miami, right? When you were like 1 or something?
Yeah, I was 1.5, and we moved to South Florida.
Okay, so this might be a dumb question, but is there any sort of like baseball community in Peru where they're like, "Hey, Jesús Luzardo's our guy," or do you ever get like a random tweet from somebody in Peru? I don't know. I was just wondering.
I don't have social media anymore, but when I had Instagram, I'd get very random messages early on in my career. From people trying to start leagues up in Peru, which was interesting. I think now they're getting more of an influx of Venezuelans moving into Peru, which now obviously causes a lot of interest in. I think there's going to be plenty more Peruvian-born baseball players, kind of with the same story that I had. Families that maybe moved into Peru and kind of brought that passion with baseball along. But I can tell it's growing. I don't really have family over there or friends, right. But just from what I have understood, and I kind of keep up with it somewhat, and I know that there's a good group of baseball players coming out of there.
Now, were your parents working in Peru, or are they students, or?
Yeah, my dad worked for Motorola, and so he left Venezuela, got a job in Peru, and they lived there for 3 years, and that's when I was born.
I got you. That's cool.
Very cool. Hey, so obviously you were born, I guess, raised and went to high school in Parkland. I know you're really involved in the community there, and I know that you're involved with a bunch of things. Can you talk about some of the things that you've been doing in the community, and what Parkland meant to you, and what that event, that terrible event, meant to you as well?
Yeah, Parkland means everything to me. I still live there in the off seasons back home. I still live very close to my family, and live right down the block from Stoneman Douglas, where the tragedy happened. And it was obviously a tough time for our community as a whole. I think everyone felt it, even if you didn't if you weren't personally affected by it, because it's a tight knit community, a smaller community, And, I went to high school there, so it really hit home for me. I knew people there at the time, and, I see how it affected people. So for me, it's important to get back into the community and just give back as much as possible. Using the platform that, we have as baseball players now, I think it's cool to be able to express, ourselves in certain ways and give back in certain ways that maybe other people can't. So we've been able to do some kids camps at Stoneman Douglas every year, which is it's awesome. We hope to keep growing and continuing to get better. And then last year I did my first annual golf tournament, which was awesome. We did that for my foundation, and we gave back to 3 foundations in South Florida: the Joe DiMaggio Children's Hospital, the Boys and Girls Club of Broward County, and ARC Broward, which is a facility for people with special needs. And so, we continue to try to do more and keep growing and get better every time. But getting back in the community is something big for me and my family.
That's awesome, man. Great stuff.
And you're doing stuff here too, right? I mean, you're you're donating per strikeout for the Boys and Girls Club of Philadelphia. Is that, you mentioned, is Boys and Girls Club something near and dear to your heart, or is that just something you kind of connected with?
I think it's something I just connected with. I went and I saw in South Florida. There's a lot of parts of South Florida that are pretty rough, and the stuff that they do in those communities to get these kids off the street and on the right path, and not only with the kids, how they affect the community as a whole and what they do. I think it's awesome. So I love, giving back and being a part of it. I think, kids are the future of the country, so you got to steer them the right way. But at the same time, here we're doing the strikeout initiative and continuing to try to find ways to get back in the community. I've heard a lot about CHOP, the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. I would love to go and get there and see what we could do. My dad's he's a coach of the Challenger League in Parkland. He works with Anthony Rizzo's father. They're both coaches there. And, so I'm a big part of the Challenger League back home, and I would like to do that here as well. So just trying to find the time. The season's a little tough, but whenever I get a chance, I want to.
We saw your parents on TV after your first start in Philadelphia, and you pitched great that night. You always pitch great here. I mean, what's this whole experience coming to Philadelphia been like for them?
They love it. I think that they really enjoy the atmosphere, and this is real, real baseball. Not a knock on anywhere else that I've been, but you could feel, like I said, the atmosphere, the home field advantage. The buzz around the city. Going into a game, you just see the streets, flooded with Phillies gear, and the stadiums, packed. Everyone's walking in, so it's a good time. They're having a great time, making it out to all my starts. They love coming and staying with me and cooking me home cooked meals. So, and I don't complain about it.
That's not the worst for you either. Hey,
so I'm all for it.
So I noticed that you seem like a pretty emotional guy, and it to me, from the outside looking in, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like the fan base sort of uplifts you up and you get fired up to pitch. I mean, I know you're pretty emotional, and I know you want to do well. I mean, that sort of seems to be your personality. Does the fan base take you to that next level here?
I would say so. Yeah. I think that, in places where there's not that many fans, you almost have to create your own adrenaline. And, it's not hard to create your own adrenaline when you're facing, another big league hitter. So I think we always have those jitters and that adrenaline. But when you have 40,000 behind you and they're cheering you on, and you can almost feel like that confidence building. I feel like when I'm off the mound, I'm completely different. I'm not really that emotional. I'm pretty level-headed and quiet. But when I get on the mound, it's just a different human being on there.
More from Jesús Luzardo in a minute. Ruben, what do you got on PARX?
PARX Casino is my casino of choice. They have it all: action, excitement, headline entertainment, thousands of hot slots, a state-of-the-art sports book, a beautiful poker room, the Liberty Bell Beer Garden, and so much more. PARX Casino, this is how you win. Tickets on sale now for these national headliners. On July 12th, comedian Mark Norman. September 6th, it's the English reggae and pop band UB40, Red Red Wine, baby. Comedian Russell Peters on September 27th. And don't forget Brian Regan on November 22nd. Don't forget dinner and drinks before the show at Liberty Bell Gastropub, PARX Grill Steakhouse, Bamboo Noodle House, or Chickies and Pete's. PARXCasino.com to buy tickets for all your shows. Parks Casino, this is how you win. You must be 21. Gambling problem, 1-800-GAMBLER.
Now, Jesus, I wanted to ask you one more. It's Stoneman Douglas, for folks out there who don't know, is an incredible baseball program.
Yes.
Every year they're in the top 10 of anybody who ranks high school baseball programs. I mean, obviously Jesús Luzardo, that Colby Mayo, Roman Anthony, I think, who's a great prospect with the Red Sox. And just a great program. But when I actually hear you speak, you're incredibly well-spoken. And I'm imagining you were a good student. And you were a big prospect coming out of high school and draft prospect, but did you have a college commitment? And
I was planning on going to the University of Miami, and I was pretty dead set on it too. I was a pretty good student in high school. And college is a big thing for my parents. My sister went to college. My parents both went to college. So yeah, I was pretty dead set on going to college. The Nats came and obviously offered me life-changing money, so it was hard for me to turn away. But I still made a promise to my dad that I need to get a college degree before I die. So I'm gonna live up to that promise.
What are you gonna get your degree in?
I tried finance when I was in rookie ball, but macroeconomics wasn't my favorite.
Gotcha.
So now I got to look for something else, maybe business, something. But I told him I would do it, so I'm going to do it.
Good for you.
That's terrific.
That is awesome. And one of my favorite stories I've written in a long time, Jesus, a couple of weeks ago, I was talking to you about just your preparation before a start. And we were talking a lot about your superstitions. And for people that did not read that story, like you're very specific in when you begin your pre-start routine, when you walk onto the field, when you make your first throw onto the field. Can you kind of talk or tell us a little bit about that, why that started, how that started, and how it might just help you mentally like get prepared for a start before a big game?
Yeah. For me, just like I'm a big numbers guy. I think, numbers have meanings behind them. And, I would say, I'm pretty religious as well. So there's a lot of times that, I'll just say, show me 44 if I'm on the right path, and I'll randomly be driving to the field and I'll see a 44 license plate. Or I'll be rolling out and I'll look on the ceiling and the fan has, 44 on it. Just random things like that give me a little confidence here and there, a little peace of mind. It almost assures me that today's my day. And but if I don't see it, it's not like I hit the panic button and I'm, it's the end of the world. But yeah, for me, 4s and 8s have always been big. So anytime I walk out to the field, it has to add up to 4 and 8, and the same with the first throw of the day. Has to add up to a 4 or an 8. So me and AJ Puck, the reliever with the Diamondbacks, a real good friend of mine. And he kind of feels the same way. So we kind of developed that together. He's a reliever, so it's a little bit tougher. And I'm more superstitious in my routine. But 4s and 8s have always been the thing.
But then, I mean, obviously you wear the glasses. They're not prescription, right? That's kind of a good luck thing as well. And your coffee order, I love that too. You get it. What is it? Cold brew with almond milk at Starbucks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and nowadays I can't stand the taste of it. It's just at this point I need to drink it because I'm so superstitious.
Wow. Do they know you yet at the neighborhood Starbucks?
Not yet, but I'm sure by the end of the season they will.
Hey, I was super superstitious as well. Do you ever try to test it in the minor leagues or anything like that? Like try to do something different just so you're okay if things don't work out? Have you done that before?
Yeah, I have. Well, this year I did it with the glove. I switched up my glove. And normally I wear the same gamer all year, whether it's good or bad. And this year I tried like little switches here and there. I actually had a hot coffee one day. I forgot where we were, but it was freezing. And I was like, I can't have cold brew. And we might have been Chicago. And I had a hot coffee and it went well. And I was like, maybe, but I don't like to mess with it too much. So I try to limit my superstition, when I leave it.
That's right. I forgot. Yeah, you forgot you switched the gloves up. You used to only have an all black glove, right? Now you've got like a cream colored one as well that you mix in.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Hey, I want to talk a little bit about Caleb Cotham and how he's affected you so far and how important he's been to you. Obviously, you came up with the new pitch during the course of spring training, broke out that sweeper. Can you talk a little bit about that overall development as that happened, as you built your relationship with Caleb?
Yeah, Caleb's been awesome for me. And, I think we balance each other out pretty well, because he's a good mix of like old school. You have old school pitching coaches who are all feel and, how it looks visually and reading the swing. And then you have a little bit new school pitching coaches as well, who are very analytic driven. The metrics say this, analytically, this is what we should throw, guys. So he's a perfect mix of both. I think he does a good job of analyzing the metrics and the numbers and all that and simplifying it and knowing how to tell a player or a pitcher, what they need to hear and how it's going to help them. I think every guy's different. Some guys might be a little more analytic driven. Some guys might be less. So I think he has the perfect mix. And as well, he mixes that with reading swings and visually how that looks. So I think that's the perfect balance in a pitching coach. And he helped me a lot with the sweeper. Like we've been saying, he kind of put it in my head. I went ahead and I started tinkering with it. I work out down in West Palm Beach. And, so we have some pitching coaches down there that they did a great job with me. They kind of showed me a grip. We just went with it. And then, progressively building that into, because a new pitch is a little different stress on the arm. So I was working it progressively in the offseason, filled in Caleb Cotham, Mark Lowry, our pitching guys here. And then when we got to spring, we kind of had to take our lumps and bumps with how we were going to attack hitters. And we had to find the right mesh, the right time, the right places in the count to use it. And, by the end of spring, I think we did a really good job of nailing that down.
I was wondering for the listeners and the viewers, could you give us a simple breakdown of the difference between a slider and a sweeper? I mean, you threw a back foot slider. I remember, I think it was Castellanos in spring training when somebody asked him, "Hey, what do you think of getting Jesús Luzardo?" He said, "It's great. It's a great pitcher, and that back foot slider, I don't have to face it anymore." But now it's a sweeper. Just give us a little breakdown of the difference in those two pitches.
Yeah. So, I mean, basically, I've never had a pitch that moved so much horizontally towards a right-handed hitter. Everything was always either very up and down or would run away. So now it just helps me. My slider is more of a gyro slider. They call it a bullet spin slider. So it spins like a bullet and it kind of just drops. Visually, to me, the good ones have a little turn, but if you look at it analytically, it doesn't move at all. It doesn't. It just stays dead straight and just goes down. So those sliders are very effective. But for me, I needed something that went into the right-handed hitter and kind of made them aware of stuff moving into them. And then that's where the sweeper comes in, where you get that, whether it's 7 or to 10 or to 13 inches of horizontal movement inwards.
Do you have a ball with you? Could you show us how you throw it?
Yeah. For me, this is my sweeper grip. Guys, a lot of guys mess with the thumb. For me, that was like the biggest thing, finding that the thumb on the side would really help me and just have more ball security. And then basically just think of throwing a football and having that ball spin out. And then you want that side spin on it and have it tumble away.
And then what about, can you show us, how is the slider different then, I guess?
So the slider is right here. And then basically you just throw it, stay behind it. And then that ball, I'm going to pronate it. And then it just spins like that. So then when it spins like a bullet, it'll just drop as opposed to the side spin.
So I remember in that first Grapefruit League start, you threw the sweeper, and I remember you saying like, I'm trying it. I don't even know if it's going to be a real pitch or not. Were you just kind of trying to lower expectations, or were you legitimately like, I don't know if this is going to be something I carry in the season? Because now you look at it and it's like you throw it almost 30% of the time. So, it's become like really obviously a big part of your success this year.
Yeah. No, I think I was just trying to lower expectations. The second I threw it in the offseason, I knew that this was going to be a weapon for me. It just visually looked really well, metrically looked really well. It was something that I didn't have confidence in early in spring, at least. I didn't have confidence in the command of it. Now I'm able to throw it both sides of the plate, beneath the zone as well. And early on, it was just kind of like grip it and rip it and just, hope it moves. But, in the years past, I've also tried to add a cutter. I've tried to add a curveball, and I come into spring with high expectations, and I end up just banging the pitch completely and sticking with what I had. So this year is more of, let's just take it slow. Let's see what we have. And then, as it progressed, obviously it became a weapon for me.
So the sweeper, I mean, this was not brought up to you in Clearwater. You were traded to the Phillies, and then you had conversations, I guess, by phone or maybe video with Caleb. And at that point, he suggested the sweeper. I mean, it takes some faith in a guy to buy in before even really meeting him in person, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, but also if you just look at the track record, Zach has added sweeper. I think he's added a couple pitches, and the splitter, and it's been incredible. So I mean, just the fact, and also him just asking me. He asked me, "Hey, have you ever thrown a sweeper?" I said no, and he just left it at that. And I think it was the day I got traded. I got home, I called him, and he just left it at that. And that kind of sparked my brain into saying, if he's asking me that question, maybe, he sees something, the potential in a sweeper. And then when I brought it back to him, like, hey, I've been working on this sweeper, he was all for it. And, they loved how it looked. But I think, like I said earlier, Caleb does a great job of, he wants guys to mess around and tinker a little bit, but he also wants to simplify it as much as possible. And he kind of leaves it in your court.
Where does JT fit into your success here in Philadelphia?
I mean, extremely high. Not many guys. I would say JT and Marchand both. Marchand takes heavily after JT in the sense of it looks like, he follows his every move in a good way. Because JT is one of the hardest workers I've ever seen in the weight room, on the field. You see him every day. You walk in early. He's studying the hitters, going over his scouting reports. And, so it's not by chance that the pitching staff, does what it does when you have guys behind the plate that really know what they're doing. You have confidence. Every time JT puts a pitch down for me, I have a confidence that he saw something in the video, saw something in the numbers, see something, in the at-bat. He's great at visually seeing what, a hitter's swing, a hitter's take, the way they set up. I mean, he's just the full package back there. Real smart, real tough. And, he keeps a cool and level head back there, especially a guy like me. I get adrenaline flowing, and I just want to blow people away sometimes. And he's more of, the level head of let's throw this, let's get this guy out. Let's be smart about things. So, I wouldn't be where I am today without him for sure.
Since you've been in the big leagues some time now, and you've sort of bounced a little bit to different organizations, where was it for you when you finally felt like my feet are firmly planted into the ground and I know that I'm going to be a quality Major League Baseball player? And what was that like? Because I went through that moment at some point. I wasn't ever quality, but I felt much more comfortable in my own skin as a Major League player. And I was curious as to when it happened for you and how.
Yeah, for me, I would say 2023 with the Marlins was the year that, I was, I think, my 5th year, parts of 5 years in the big leagues. I was a little older, got more mature, and just understanding, that year I had a full season of health through 32 starts, I want to say, or 31 starts. Understood what it took to be, a full season starting pitcher and how long that season really is. But I felt like that was where I kind of turned the point, early in the year, that I felt like every time I went out there, I could give us a chance to win. Doesn't matter who's on the other side. And, last year was frustrating, but being an opening day starter for the Marlins, it was just for me, kind of gave me that confidence, even though I got hurt at the end of last year, going into this year. Just remembering, you can do it, you've been there before, you've done it, so it's nothing new. And so now just coming in here, I had, like you said, I already felt like, I had established myself somewhat, and then coming to a team who had already faced me and knew what I could do. It didn't feel like I had to go out and do more.
Jesus, I talking to a lot of your teammates, they say, "Oh man, Jesus, man, he's a real competitor, man. This dude competes. I remember actually asked Kyle Schwarber after a game and go, "You guys always say that, but what does that actually mean? Like when you say a guy's a competitor?" And he says it's kind of like a vibe, maybe, or just you can just tell that he's going to grind through it even if things aren't going right. I'm wondering, like, before a game, during a game, are you a guy that, don't talk to me? Like, guys know to stay out of my way? Or can you have a conversation with teammates? Like, is that part maybe what they're talking about, or what do you think they mean when they say that?
I don't know. I mean, I think one of the greatest compliments you can ever get is, being a competitor. I always want to compete. Watching that Michael Jordan documentary when he says I have a competition problem, like I really have a competition problem. I just love to compete. And whether it doesn't matter what we're doing, we could be playing dominoes, playing horse, basketball, it doesn't matter, anything. I always want to win, but I think before games, if you ask a lot of the guys, some guys might give you mixed answers. A lot of the Latin guys say that they can't talk to me before I pitch because I'm pretty locked in. But I feel like I'm pretty easygoing. Guys can talk to me. I can have a conversation. But like when it's a couple hours before the game and I have my headphones on, like I'm locked in 100%. And I'm ready to go. And I feel like I just turned it, like I said, I turned into someone else when I go to pitch, and it's just a very competitive, always on go. And then the second that Skip tells me I'm done, then it's over. Then I am smiling again. I'm messing around, but there's not much messing around going on day games for me.
What are you listening to pregame to get you in the zone?
It's a good mix. I got some Latin music, some reggaeton, a lot of rap. A lot of old school rap, New York, like 90s, Mobb Deep, like that type of stuff.
Nice. Hey, so I was just kind of curious, just on the sort of the lighter side, what other things do you like to do off the field? I mean, do you have any hobbies or interests, or you're a golfer, you're a fisherman? What kind of stuff do you do?
A little bit of everything. I like to fish a lot back home. I don't have a boat, but anytime I get invited out on one, I'll be there.
You'll soon be able to afford plenty of boats.
Hopefully soon. Yeah. But a lot of lake fishing around my house. Big golfer. I like going to the beach, anything really outdoors, back home in the winters. Florida's beautiful. So we try to get out, whether it's the beach, paddleboarding, fishing, golf. I like to hunt every once in a while if I get invited for that. So I'm a little bit of everything.
Hey, before we run out of time, I wanted to you have a history with Andrew Painter from the same area, worked out same facility. You spent some time, obviously, in spring training. Tell the Phillies fans what they're going to get from this kid, probably in the not too near future.
Yeah, Painter is awesome. I love messing with him. He's an awesome kid, great kid, hard worker. That's what kind of blows me away. He's very mature for his age. He almost acts like, I view him as a peer of my own age. I remember going and visiting his high school coach at the time, and he was in high school, and it just kind of blew me away. I'd always heard a lot about him. He was way younger than me. But yeah, the more I got to know him, a couple off seasons ago, we played a lot of pickleball together. And so we got very competitive at that. And it's just great to see, that side of him outside of the baseball field, because you know how good of a kid he is, how hard he works. But when he does turn it on, when he starts to play and when he starts to pitch, you could see kind of that mode going for him. And that's when, he wants to be the best. And I think that's what makes him so good, is that, he's always striving to be great. And, I think that it's something that he can definitely achieve. So I'm excited for him. Did
he have kind of a legendary aura as a high school kid?
Yeah, I mean, you have a lot of good baseball players coming out of South Florida. So, there's that joke of like a prospect or a suspect. You never know what they're going to be. But I feel like at an early age, you could tell that Painter was just going to be, a stud. He had the build for it, but he wasn't, extremely loud and cocky kid. He was just kind of quiet under the radar, and he would just be really good. So, yeah, it's been incredible to see. But yeah, we have a lot of South Florida guys on this team. It's actually pretty fun to be around.
You do, yeah.
Yeah, me and Max Lazar, the day I actually blew out my elbow in high school, my senior year, he was the starting pitcher on the other side.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's wild. Who's better at pickleball? Who wins?
Me. You could ask Andrew Painter. Yeah, he has a notorious eyeball and he stinks at it. But yeah, if you ever talk to him about pickleball, you got to ask him.
You're a lefty like myself?
Yes, lefty.
What's your rating? Are you rated?
No, I don't know. My dad plays every day, all day long. He's like a 4.5. I don't know. So he's pretty good.
Wow.
I'm not. I just go and try to keep up with him.
That's awesome. And then one last one for me is, you're a hockey fan as well, right? Are you a Panthers fan?
Yeah, Panthers fan.
Okay,
yeah,
so congrats to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Did you get on Jordan and Tom's about?
I was talking a lot of smack to Topper. I might have got on his nerve a little bit, which was pretty funny. But yeah, me and Jordan, I mean, we were going at it left and right. I knew he was a big Toronto Leafs fan, so every chance I got, I could chirp him.
So that the deciding game between the Leafs and the Panthers was on when you guys were on the plane en route to Denver. Were you able to watch that game?
Oh yeah, me and Jordan were sitting next to each other. I had the game on. I was cheering every time we scored. It was great.
Wow. Yeah. And then they absolutely blitzed Carolina.
Yeah, again. Yeah, thankfully.
That's the fantastic.
Hopefully they do the same as last year and they beat McJesus, but we'll see.
He's good. He's good. But so are the Panthers, man. They are
I like
great organization.
One thing I will say, but I mean, I've been going to those games since I was 13. We used to park across the street and scalp tickets for like $7 in high school. They weren't great. So now seeing where they are now, but I just love seeing how gritty they are. It's something that honestly like fires me up and you know, I love that side of hockey that I wish we could bring into baseball, how gritty they are and how in their face they are all the time. You know, they're always you know, just trying to get under the skin of the other team, and I love that about them. I love Matthew Tkachuk. I'm a big fan of his.
I like him too. He's a good player all around. He'll get under your skin. He's tough. His brother. I mean, look what they did in the Four Nations. So it's going to be a great final. I love the fun and the Stanley Cup as well.
That's going to be great.
Yeah. Well, Jesus, thanks a lot. Good luck to your Panthers and good luck to you for the rest of the season. We had a lot of fun talking to you. So
thanks so much for joining us, man. It was great.
Yeah. The Philly Show is brought to you by the Foul Territory Network. Subscribe to the Philly Show on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. If you like us, give us a review. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook, and Threads. Find Ruben's analysis before, during, and after Phillies games on NBC Sports Philadelphia, on the Sports Radio 94 WIP Morning Show and MLB Network. Find Jim at allphly.com. Find me at MLB.com, the Phillies Beat newsletter, and MLB Network.